everyone's having a good October. I'm just going to get right to it, I guess. I said this would be heavily focused on time management, so I guess I'll get started with that. I'll show you my screen. All right. Get all my waters and Sprites in place. I'd like to start off by showing everybody my Jamberry because that's always the fun way to start any meeting. Oh, this is what I worked on today in about a minute. Oh, see that? It seems to work on YouTube when people do that. So I took the metallic and then I just painted over it. Super fun times. All right, let's go on to time management. And I'm already recording, so that's a bonus right there. Okay, so let's talk about your time and how you're managing it. I'm just going to give a quick spiel here. I think that time management is the #1 issue that all people face, mainly women, because just by the nature of our chemistry and the way that we do things, we are multitaskers, so we try to do a whole bunch of things at once. Some of you who've been on some of my other calls, I've talked about the 4 quadrants of time management, and if you can categorize your life this way, you're going to be much more productive. So you've got a lot of things going on in your life. There's always going to be a crisis or an emergency, okay? And some of those can be big scale and some of those can be small scale. Those are things that you cannot control. When they come up, you have to deal with them when they happen. This could be a loved one dying. This could be an illness that you have yourself. This could be losing your house in a fire. I mean, things like that. Or it could be just as small as your kid having pink eye for 2 days. Just different things that come up that you have to deal with. Nothing you could have done could have prevented it or made that moment any better. So quadrant number 2 are things that are very important, but they're not urgent. And this is really where we're going to want to spend our time, and we're going to talk later about what we want to put in that particular quadrant. So if anybody wants to take notes on this, these are great things to write down. I actually made a picture of this in PicMonkey because that's super important, but it was important, and I had it hanging on my wall for a long time. I'm the type of person who, after something hangs on my wall for so long, it means nothing, so I took it down. But I looked at it for so long that it just became part of who I was and how I try to manage my time. So something that is important but not urgent would be paying your bills, okay? So your bills come due every month. It's very important that you pay them before the due date. Otherwise, that could turn into a crisis because your electricity has been shut off because you didn't take the time to sit down and pay that bill, or you didn't take the time to sit down and make a budget and you spent too much shopping at the mall and you didn't have the money to pay the bill. So I hope that everyone kind of understands the concept there. If you have any questions, feel free to write them down in the little chat box, then I can probably read them as I go along. So that's just a case in point of something that's prevention and planning. Another thing would be follow-up in your Jamberry business. If you are not following up, if you are not hostess coaching, then you could turn your business into a crisis mode. Your business could not have any parties. Your business could not have any sales. Your business could not have any recruits because you didn't even take the time to follow up from your last party or sample request or whatever you had going on. So there's a lot of work you can do in quadrant 2 that will keep you out of quadrant 1, actually, and help you when you're in quadrant 1 for the part of things that you really can't help. So down in quadrant 3 is interruptions. So these are things that are not important, but they have to be taken care of. Okay, so for instance, your dog pees on the carpet, which would be something that happens in my life too often. I really need to clean that up right then. I can't let the pee sit there. I have to take care of it. Interruptions are going to happen. So Another thing would be your child comes home from school and they're very upset about something and they really want to talk to you. You know, this is interruption. Your mom calls you and she's going through something and she wants to talk to you. You know, that's an interruption. A neighbor comes by, that's an interruption. I mean, there's just so many different interruptions all day long that have to be dealt with. Some of them don't have to be dealt with at all, and that would be overall time wasters. But you can't help it when the dog pees. You have to clean it up. Or maybe you were making casserole and you dropped all of the pasta on the floor. You have to clean that up. So that's quadrant 3. So that's not things that you can't control. But you don't exactly have to work on every single interruption that comes up, okay? So some interruptions can actually be over here in quadrant number 4, which is time wasters, which I'm sure we can all think of a million of these. Now you could say, well, reading a good book, it really helps me unwind, and that's good for my mental health. Okay, I'll give you that if you have done a lot of things in your important quadrant that day. Okay? And I'm not talking about the occasional mental health day where you're going to have a breakdown. I'm talking about your day-to-day life here, okay? So time wasters, getting on Facebook without a plan. I mean, we work a lot of our business on Facebook. We're going to have to get on Facebook. We can't say, that's funny, Stacey. I can't say don't get on Facebook. That's insane. But I can say don't get on Facebook without a plan, okay? Another time waster would be playing something on your phone. Another time waster would be every time you get a notification on Facebook going and checking it. To be honest with you, I don't know why I still get notifications to my phone, now that I think about it. Because I don't actually look at them. I just swipe them off my screen now. So, but I haven't taken the time to take that off because it's really not important because I'm keeping myself from checking all my notifications if I don't have the time. Another time waster, oh, I don't know what else could be, but we've all got our little vices, our little things that that we want to spend our time doing. And some of them honestly don't even help your mental health, such as reading really taking really stupid quizzes on Facebook, or reading about, you know, the 25 most haunted houses in the U.S., you know, stuff like that. That is most definitely what I find myself doing. That it should not be. So these are the different quadrants of where you really do spend your time. So like I said, let's talk about how to do as much as we can in quadrant 2 so that when quadrant 1 happens, we can still survive it. Okay, so when quadrant 1 happens, it doesn't become a black hole of everything. Relationships, Jamberry, or physical and mental health don't all get sucked in with that crisis. Okay,
Boy.
so yes, so, okay, sorry, I thought I heard somebody. All right, so let's go on to the next slide. So does everyone have kind of a basic understanding of this? I stole this from 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, which is a great book, and you should totally read it, because it is not about things that you do so much as just an overall sense of who you are and how you approach everything in life. And it's awesome. All right. So, what are you managing? I tried to think about what everybody manages in some capacity. And what does that look like? So, and I kind of used what I do in my day-to-day life to show you what we might be managing in a day or a week. So I'm really going to look at everything in a week. So what are you managing? We're really not managing time. Time is going to tick, 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 tick away. We're never going to control it. But what we can control is what's inside of it. So what I would like all of you to do is kind of make a list like this. What are you really managing in your family? All right, how many kids do you have? Okay, so I've got 3 kids that I'm managing. My pets totally get in the way of my life. My parents are people I have to help out and take care of, and possibly other dependent people in your life. So I'm not really going to say who that is, but there's definitely times that come up. I've got to take care of other people in my life, and I do. And then there's and under family, it's really nice that I didn't put my husband, but he can kind of take care of himself. I kind of moved my husband over to the personal, and you'll see then. But so then the home, like I have to pay the bills, take care of repairs, either doing them myself. My husband helps, but mind you, I'm just saying these are things that come up. Taking care of the repairs, calling for them, you know, your cars, they need to be washed, they need gas, they need to have all the trash the kids like to put in them taken out. There's maintenance, there's housekeeping, laundry, cooking, shopping, planning. All of that happens on a day-to-day basis in your home. And then you throw Jamberry in there, and there's just different things you might have going on. Parties, hostess, team, follow-up, organizing. Or like today, learning, team meetings. I have keeping up on there. That is actually reading the dashboard. You know, taking the time to really know what's going on. Then there's work. So some of us work outside of the home, some of us work inside of the home, and then some of us work as full-time moms. So I'm going to say for those people working as full-time moms, whether you're working inside or outside of the home, if you have little kids, you are not able to work on other things. So no matter what your work is, it varies, but you can't do anything else during that time. If you have little ones, you are tending to them and their needs, and you cannot possibly do all the things that you need to do. I'm sure anybody who has kids knows that. So, and then there's personal. So all this personal stuff would probably be in that one quadrant back here, time wasters, but not exactly. But hobbies, working out would not be a time waster. Relationships, developing the relationship with your children, developing the relationship with your husband, your friends, games that you play, TV watching. I love Pinterest, haircuts, you know, doctor visits, all that kind of little stuff that comes up in your life that's personal. Boot shopping, I don't know, whatever it might be. Online party shopping, that personal list could probably go on and on and on. But this is really what we're managing on a day-to-day basis. We're not managing time. We can't control that. So let's talk about what we can control. So does everyone kind of have a good understanding of what this is? And not just what this is. I'm sure you can all read labels. But I want everyone to take a moment and just fill in the blanks under family, home, Jamberry, work, and personal for yourself. Think of all the things you have going on in a week. And just think about what you're doing. You know, you might have 7 kids. God bless you if you have 7 kids. Or you might have 4 dogs, and they're huge, and they have to be walked every day. I don't even walk my dog. Poor dog. I put pets on there. That's really like, they take up 30 minutes. But anyway, okay. So, and I didn't even put in here emotional, which I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like each one of these things could have its own emotional category where we sit down and we stress out about these different things, and they weigh on us, and they get in the way of us working through what we need to work through, and can create a certain amount of murkiness. But some weeks we don't have any emotions going on where they're concerned. So on to the next one. All right, so how many hours in a week do we really have? And y'all can check the math because I did not double check what 24 times 7 was. So maybe I'm totally wrong. But how many hours in a week do you really have? Let's talk about this. There's 168 hours for us to do all of the things in these categories. And I think that understanding how much time you have can help you better use it. So let's say that I have to be home by 3 p.m. so that I can go pick up the kids. But I want to go to Toledo, and it takes at least an hour for me to get to Toledo. Well, I have to say this. All right, well, I have to be home by 3. it's an hour there, it's an hour back, that's 2 hours. So I start at 3, I go back to 2, and then I have to be leaving Toledo by 1. But I can't leave my house until 10. That gives me 3 hours. Can I really get around Toledo in 3 hours and do what I need to do? Is it worth my time? Is it worth going? Or am I going to be late to pick up my kids? If I don't understand the time that I have, then I could potentially waste it and use it wrong and spend a trip to Toledo, only get to do 45 minutes of what I really needed 5 hours to do, and then I've wasted a whole day in Toledo because I didn't think through the time that I have. So part of managing the time is actually understanding how many hours you're working with, and what can you really do in those hours. So we have 168 hours. First off, 7 hours a night. Some of you may get more, some of you may get less, but I just took the average. You're going to sleep 49 hours of that 168, okay? So I'm talking living a healthy, balanced life here. Do we always? No, but let's pretend. So work hours. Some people are going to have 40. I actually have a light week this week. That's eventually going to become heavy again. But right now, I really only have to do 7 hours worth of work. I have no work commute because I work for my husband from home. Kids' activities, I will spend 14.5 hours this week watching my kids do stuff. Not saying that's a bad thing, it's just a true thing. I'll spend 4 hours chauffeuring them or the pets or other dependents in my life around. I have no appointments this week yet. I'm supposed to be making a couple. I spend 4.5 hours a week working out. I have allotted 2 hours for one-on-one I have this week. I know that sounds like a lot, but it's a gel, and we haven't seen this person. I'm trying to be realistic. It's going to be 2 hours. By the time I prep, clean up, meet, 2 hours. Church, an hour and a half. Showering, yes, this takes time out of your day and life. And I averaged 45 minutes from the time I shower, get dressed, and my hair is done. Haha, no, it takes me longer, but I do not shower every day. So, eating. So, eating, just 45 minutes at night. This does not include your lunch or your breakfast. This is just dinner, okay? And it may take you longer, might not. And like the team meeting tonight, an hour and a half for this. So this leaves me 88 hours to get other stuff done. All the stuff I listed, I can't change that. All of that is happening. I can't do anything about it. Like, that's happening. So I have 88 hours to get a list of crap done. So once you think about that, so I would like for everybody just to quickly jot down. I'm going to give everybody 2 minutes. I want you to look at this, and I want you to think how many hours that you have. Hopefully you have a calendar. What I did is I just looked at my calendar, wrote down what I have on it, did this. I did some quick math on commuting. I mean, this is all very quick math, obviously. But I want everybody to take a few minutes to see how many hours you really have committed to other things. And some of you work more hours than others, so you're going to have less hours at the end of the day. But maybe you don't spend as much time showering, or maybe your kids are grown, and so you don't have 20 hours devoted to driving them around and watching them do things. So just take a few minutes and write that down. And I'm going to get something while you do that. So I'd also like to say that everything I'm sharing with you is a work in progress for me that I've been trying to have so that I'm not crazy. So that when I have to take 3 weeks off because, my uncle has passed away and all that happened after 1 week of vacation and I'm totally crazy, that if I have to cut things out of my life, still the really important things don't have to get cut. So, sometimes there's going to be sacrifices there, but you want to still be able to maintain your mental health, and you still, if you're working this Jamberry business and you're serious about it, you still want to be able to survive these things and have it to go back to. The great thing about this is we can pick and choose what we do with Jamberry. I am not saying that if you are at somebody's funeral, you should be following up. No, I'm not saying that. But I am saying that if you're going through a tough time and you have a couple hours alone, you could take 20 minutes. And I'm going to show you some tools, and if you could go to your tools, then you could very easily select what's important and follow up with it. All right, so everybody got a kind of an idea of what you have going on throughout the week, and you might have more things going on than this. I didn't even put pooping or peeing in here. I am not kidding you. That takes time. It takes time. So is that an easy, fast thing for you? I don't know. Are you someone that takes a long time? There you go. You might want to add that in there. But really, I want everyone to understand everything takes time. So the next thing is, here's all the stuff that happens. Like, I tried to think about everything that I want to do just this week alone. This is what I have to and or want to do this week, and probably will do this week. There's like probably 2 things on here I probably won't do. But I think there's 38 items on here, and I have 88 hours available to do them. All right. Now, I need to go through this and need to categorize, because we're talking about time management. We don't just need to manage Jamberry time. We need to manage all of our time so that we know how much time we have for Jamberry. So I need to look into all of this and see. I don't plan on having sick kids, but pink eye is going around my daughter's, what's that called? Preschool. So anyway, all this stuff I feel like could happen this week, and most of it probably is going to. Well, I paid the bills last week, so that's an awesome one, although I have not, balanced my checkbook, and I've written a few out, so I might want to check that out. But, I'm going to have to clean the house, pick up messes, kitty litter, have to get the kids ready for school in the morning, just all sorts of stuff that I'm going to have to do. Post on Facebook parties, put in orders from the party this weekend, just all of this. And then some of this is most definitely just resting time, watching TV, writing. I didn't even put on there looking at Pinterest 100 times, but I have to test drive cars for my niece. So there's just a lot of things that are going to go on this week. But I have 88 hours available to do it. And when I did the math, I was like, I could actually spend 2 hours on each one of these things and still have time left over in the week. So I'm like, okay, that looks overwhelming and crazy, but it's not. So now I don't have to waste time being overwhelmed by this list, okay? But I do have to be realistic about this list. Cleaning out my closet's going to take 6 hours. This is a true story, right? But I have not cleaned it out in a long time, and I want to clean it out so that it can very easily, everything can put back together, and I'm not constantly cleaning up messes. So is it going to take you 6 hours to clean out something? I would tell you, you should put that on the top of your priority list, because something that's in your day-to-day life that's going to take 6 hours to clean out needs to be cleaned out, because it is getting in the way of your day-to-day life, okay? Like, I literally don't even know what clothes I have. It's just, anyway, I have issues. I'm working on them. So, and so I got to clean out my daughter's closet because all of her 4-year-old stuff doesn't fit her, and it's getting in the way, and shoes, and it's everywhere. So, so that makes it hard for me to get her dressed in the morning, or for her dad to get her dressed, and, let's just make life easier if all that stuff gets cleaned out. So that stuff's going to go high on my priority list, and reading a good book will probably go low on my priority list. I'm probably not going to do that this week, and by that I mean parts of a good book. I do not have time to read a whole book. Anyway, so you just see, you've got this kind of stuff that happens to you. You know what goes on in your daily life, okay? And this is the stuff that happens. This isn't even the stuff that has to happen. This is just stuff that could happen, okay? So some of you are only going to have 20 hours to make all this happen. And some of you might have more hours than I do. I don't know. But it's about prioritizing what those things are. So for me, I want my Jamberry business to do well. I want to grow. I need to be more serious about recruiting. So those things are going to go to the top of my importance list for now. And we will talk about what is important with just Jamberry in a moment. So I don't know what time it is. Okay. All right, so just think about where does all this stuff belong, and that's what I was just saying over there. Like watching TV, that will go on the not urgent, not important column, so I might not do that. I do believe in setting office hours, and so if I can, after the kids are in bed and I have gotten all of my important tasks done, then Cinderella can go to the ball. Okay, I really believe in living like a Cinderella life. Do all your chores, and when all your chores and the important things are done, then you can go have fun. But if you're trying to have fun and later you're complaining that you don't have time, you really need to see how you spent some of your time. And I'm going to talk about that right now. Tools that can help. One of the first tools is probably just a piece of advice that when I was a freshman in high school, this was a day for me. In the morning, I would practice volleyball. In the afternoon, I would practice basketball, followed immediately by cheering at a football game. Plus, I was in all the honors classes and making straight A's. And I was also battling a kidney disease at the same time. So I was missing school on top of that because I had run myself into the ground. So yay for being 15 and having no clue that you've definitely taken on too much stuff. So my teacher, my algebra teacher, said to me, Monica, I know you have a lot going on. Like, I literally fell asleep in her class, and she was one of the meanest teachers ever, and she did not make me go to detention or anything. She just talked to me afterward. She said, I know you have a lot going on. I don't think you're going to quit any of it. So let me just give you a little advice. Is there time that you're spending not doing anything? And I was like, no, I'm doing stuff all the time. All the time. I'm busy all the time. And she said, no, really think about it. Are there times where you're waiting for your parents to pick you up? Are there times when you're riding on a bus? Are there times when, if you think about it, you're just really not doing anything? And I was like, well, yeah, actually, there's a lot of time like that. And she said, well, I just suggest you take that time to, at least just do your algebra. Just do your algebra during that time, and that's really going to lighten your load. And I took that little piece of advice with me, all the way until now. Do I always follow it? No. But when I think back to what is going to make me more sane and use my time the best, it's honestly a lot of little 5, 10, 15 little pockets of time where we sit around doing nothing. And this is true. Is there 10 minutes that you have before you're going to leave to maybe go to church or go to an appointment or go to a party? Is there something you can do in those 10 minutes that's productive? A lot of the little tasks you have for Jamberry in particular do not take a lot of time to do. Okay, they really don't. So can you take those little tasks that are 1 to 3 minute tasks and do them? Can you follow up quickly with somebody? A lot of you are going to say, I can't follow up quickly. I don't know who to follow up with. What are you talking about, Monica? I have to go into my office. I'd have to pull out a file. Okay. Well, what I'm trying to say to you is that, you don't have to do those things anymore if you don't want to. If you want to get everything on your phone, you can. And in 5 minutes, you can get stuff done. If you spend a lot of time waiting on your kids, I know a lot of people do this. Like, you drop your kids off at school, so you don't have that time. But when you pick them up, you have to go get in the line. You sit there for 25 minutes. Oh, my gosh. It takes forever. Maybe you read a good book. Maybe that's your time for scrolling Facebook. But what I would say to you is that you should take that time to do something productive, and particularly productive with Jamberry if that works, because later that night when you're tired and ready to go to bed, you're not going to say, and I didn't follow up with my hostess, and I didn't follow up with this, and I didn't do that. You're going to be able to go to bed with a much more clear mind. So, so the little pockets of time that you have, what else can you be doing in those pockets of time? And right now, think about what are those pockets? When do I have those? I think we have those more often than we think. And maybe through the next week, take note. Oh my gosh, I'm just sitting here. I take stuff, I have to, hour and a half, I watch Lillian do dance, and only one time a month am I allowed in the room. So the other, like 3 to 4 times a month, I have to sit out in a room all by myself. So I bring things to work on. Sometimes I do chat with the other mothers because that's really great for Jamberry, and also you don't want to be a weirdo who never talks to anyone ever. But some of the time I do use it to catch up on things. So just think of what those little pockets are. Where are they, and how can you use them? So here's another tool that will help. This is a huge tool. It's called saying no. Like, or some of you have so much to do because you don't say no, okay? Well, I used to say no to nothing, but every time you say yes, you're actually saying no. You're saying no to something, okay? Because we can't do it all as much as we want to. We cannot. So I want y'all to think about this right now. What are you really sacrificing when you can't say no? Your sanity? I certainly have. Quality time with loved ones? Yes, I've done that. Income producing activities? Absolutely. So because I couldn't say no because I either felt guilt or pressure or just the simple fact that like I love doing things. So I don't want to say no to them. But what I have found that saying no has really freed me up. Saying no has freed me up to be not so time crunched, to spend more quality time with the ones I love, and more time in my important quadrant. I have more time for that. Saying no is okay. You're not the only person who is going to do those things. Now, you might have the unique instance, I think this comes more in a family dynamic, or you might be the only person who is capable or who can or who's willing. But outside of that, outside of your family, it is totally okay to say no because you are really sacrificing one of the things I'm telling you there. Now, if you don't feel like you're sacrificing those things, then I would say that it fits great into your time management slots and it's not a big deal. But if you feel when you say yes, you're not saying yes because you want to give out of your heart, or you're not saying yes because you really enjoy this. You're saying yes because you feel like nobody else will do it, or you feel like you're obligated to say yes. Just say no. You're absolutely not obligated to do that. And believe it or not, this is like really hard for me for the longest time to accept. Somebody else will say yes and help that person, and they may even help them better than you could have. They may even do a better job volunteering. They may do a better job organizing, and sometimes they don't do a better job, but who cares? You got to spend your time doing something better for you. So I still think you should definitely have a giving spirit. That is not what this is about, but this is about overcommitting. This is a tool you can use to regain some of your life. So if you're looking at you only have 15 hours in a week to do anything after we wrote all that stuff out, you need to say no to something. And think about what are something I could have said no to in the last 6 months. Is there really anything I could have said no to? Think about that and then have that in mind next time you're asked. It'll be okay. And you know what I found? I've said no so much that I actually find myself volunteering for things that I have chosen I want to be a part of now, which is really great. So now Zach would probably disagree. He probably does not think I say no, but whatever. Okay, so the next thing is the most wonderful app in the world. Who downloaded Wunderlist? Who downloaded this? This is like a miracle. Okay, who is actually using it, who understands how to use it? So I'm going to tell you a few reasons why I love it. All right, so just case in point, I've gone through and totally cleaned out my office. So I have this little thing, I've had this for 2.5 years probably, that says leads. Literally just started using it. I made it like 2.5 years ago though. So today, yesterday, I got a compliment on my nails. And I said, oh my gosh, you want a sample? I just do some. We all know how that goes. She filled this out. I put it, and I have this for y'all if you want it. I have a whole system. So I just stapled it on here, put it on here, okay? I have to have paper and I have to have electronics. Some of y'all don't have to. I have to have both, okay? So I took this. All right. On my little wonder list, so this is basically a sample request. It says, I met her at Maurice's, she works there, and I sent her a sample sheet, Aztec Petty Packet Catalog, instruction sheet, 7-day challenge, and a personal note, and I sent it on the 26th. Not entirely true because it's still sitting in my outbox, but it's close enough. So I go into my wonder list, and there's this great thing. You can make up as many lists as you want. So I made up a list called Sample Follow-Up. And in the sample follow-up, it says, email Tori that you mailed her a sample. And then on Friday, I put follow-up with Tori about samples. So on Friday, I will get a little ding ding, and I set it for a time that I know that I'm available. I'll get a little ding ding, and I will not forget to follow up with Tori. I will tell you this, in my life, I am never, ever, ever, ever going to say, it's Friday, it's time for me to get this out and follow up. Now, some of you can do that, and I love you, and y'all are wonderful people, but I am not that person, so I have to create tools for my weaknesses. My weaknesses are, I will never, ever, ever be scheduled like that. However, if a list tells me something to do, I'm excited to get it off the stupid list. I can't stand having it on there. So I use that part of me to make me get things done. So everything does not have to be pretty for me. I've gotten over that. Making everything pretty actually gets in the way of getting things done. If this is something that I'm going to present professionally, then it needs to be pretty and there is quality to that. If it is just hanging out in my house, it doesn't have to be that pretty. It has to be efficient and it has to be functional. So think about that when you're coming up with how you do things. They do not have to be pretty. And if you're like, they have to be pretty, then work on that part of you because they do not have to be pretty. They have to be efficient and functional or you're never going to get anything done. It's definitely the being pretty is something I've had to work with. If you will look back at my back here, is that very pretty? This is not pretty. This is not pretty. This is not going on any design shows, and I love design. I love interior design. There are other parts of my house that are pretty. But this is efficient, and it is functional because I know where everything is. I don't have to open 45 drawers to find the happy birthday or the 7-day challenge order. I don't have to look for my samples. I don't have to look for chapstick. I don't have to look for all the metal tools or logo stickers. I don't have to look for any of my shipping boxes. I don't have to look for anything. This is all labeled, and it's somewhere where I can find it. Okay? But it's not pretty. Not pretty. That, functional, efficient, though. So, one day maybe I'll be able to make it all pretty, but I don't have time for that. So, I only have 88 hours in a week, and it cannot include that. So take this. Now, the great thing about this little sample thing is that Laura just, oh, thank you, Laura, for the reminder. I'll tell it in 1 minute. Okay, so the great thing about the sample follow-up is that when I am waiting in line for Prudence and Brady to come out of school, I can look at my sample follow-ups and I can say, oh, yeah, because especially if I'm texting or emailing these people or Facebooking them, that's not a big deal. I can do that while I'm waiting, and I can mark it off my list, and I don't have to carry this with me, okay? It'll be in here, and you can go and look at what it'll show your completed to-dos. You can see what you've done. It doesn't go off into oblivion, okay? So I can make one of these for each hostess that I have and put all the hostess coaching in, and you can copy over lists, and you can do all sorts of things, and you can even do all of this on your computer because it'll be really faster if you set stuff up on your computer, but it's no big deal to set stuff up there. The other thing that I have is every single kid has their own to-do list for me. Prudence, I need to get her glasses. I need to get her signed up for the SAT, the ACT. I need to make sure she does her thank you notes. I need to renew her driver's permit, and I need to get her a haircut. Done. Yay. So, haircut and sign her up for the SNA. I've done those things today. So, done. Okay? So that's great. So all the things you have going on with all your kids can be done here. The other thing is you can have another list. It can be called grocery shopping. You can share it with your husband. He doesn't have to go grocery shopping, but if he needs something, he can put it on the list and it shows up. You can share this with your team members. Do you have lots of team member requests? Let your team members share a list with you. Then they can put what they need from you on the list or what you need from them on the list. This thing is amazing and life-changing and free. I use the free version. All of this I'm telling you about is on the free version. So anyway, this list will change your life. So all those little 5-minute things that you have, you know, you could also make a list that says 5-minute list. Do that. If you have an Android phone, then you can use widgets, and I just scroll over and everything that like I want to do in 5 minutes is right here on the screen and I can do it easily. Or, you know, you can just tap and go in. But if you don't have that, or if you don't know about widgets, learn about widgets. They're so awesome. That's how I keep my life together. That's why I can never have my phone. No widgets. So anyway, so this Wunderlist, if you don't take anything away from today except Wunderlist, it will change your time. It will change how you use your time. You will be way more organized. Okay? So, not form over function. So, let's definitely be functional and efficient. Okay? And, you know, the other thing is paper clips and Post-it notes go a long way. I just clip things together and I set them in here, and then whenever I get to them, then they get their own list and move on. Everything doesn't have to be pretty, and everything doesn't have to be perfect, and everything doesn't have to be strictly systematic. But if that is what works for you, then do it. But if you're not a strictly systematic person, do not feel bad for not living in a strictly systematic business. What you need to do is set up the proper things to help with your handicaps, okay, with your time management and your planning handicaps, because it will make all the difference in the world. I've been able to maintain hostesses and parties and a lot of sales leads that I had through all the crisis I had over the last few weeks because I had already moved myself into this kind of thinking. So yeah, life's going to come at you, and it's going to come at you hard, and sometimes you can't, for a week, you can't do anything. But you can come back in a week and you can see, oh, these were the 6 very urgent things I need to get back to. And it's okay to tell those people I had a crisis. And there's only 6 things that are super urgent. You know, you haven't dropped the ball on everything because you actually understand what your 6 urgent things are. And it's not 7 weeks later when you dig them out of a hole and discover it. So there's that. The next tool is planners and schedules. So I'm going to be honest with you. This is a booking tool, okay? This calendar is if it's on the calendar, it's really happening in real life. It goes on here. This is my booking tool. So I need one thing to for sure have everything on it, and this is just more like I need to be able to book stuff. So use your calendar. So for November, unfortunately, my November is like hugely available. But I've decided that if I could have a party on all these dates in November, I totally would. Now, as I start to book, then I'll probably take them off. So maybe if I have a party on a Monday, I might be like, oh, I have so many other things that might get filled in here, I could take this sticker off. But if you do not know, again, the time that you're looking at, how are you supposed to fill this? Okay, so make sure you have a planner. You can get a pretty planner. You can get like a $5 planner like this from Walmart. You can get the Jamberry planner. I do not care. Get a planner. It is a booking tool. Even if you only do Facebook parties, it is a booking tool for you to see what you can do at a glance. You do not have to have fancy stickers. You can take a highlighter and you can highlight, because that's what I used to do. Okay, so back in June. See all the circles? Okay, I used to circle them, and then I was able to get free stickers, so now I use that. Planners. Calendars, If you are not using these things, you're going to have a hard time, okay? The other thing, like even this, I know you're like, this is nice for my family. This is nice for me because I can see just this week, and I've actually, you know how long this takes me to fill out? Like 7 minutes. 7 minutes for me to fill this out, and I don't have it up here, but Brady's to-do list for the week so that he doesn't get off track. It takes me 7 minutes. That 7 minutes is totally worth it because now my family can look and see all the big stuff we have going on. Zach can look at it, and then I even put what we're going to have for dinner down here. I'm not going to lie. Some days it literally says no idea because I don't have any idea. But at least my family can go in knowing that we have no idea what we're eating for dinner. Okay? So, and this has been really useful. The kids love it. I love it because just at a glance I can see, you know, just all the little things happening today. Because, you know, there's only so much room on these things. Okay. So that's my other tool that I think helps a lot. And then let's get to we got about, if you give me 10 more minutes, I'll go over. Everybody wants to know, what do you work on first with your Jamberry business? Okay. I saw that was the big thing. So once y'all do find the time, you all feel very overwhelmed. You're like, where do I even start? And I get that because I've been there more than once, actually. And I've been confused about where do I start, and well, this is where I make my money, and this is. But as hard as this is to believe, okay, is you start with your personal business, okay? So for those of you who have teams, you start with your personal business. And as you can see, I haven't been around on the team as much because I haven't had the time. I've been building back up where I can spend more time with the team. Does it make sense to spend time with the team? Absolutely. I am talking about when you have to choose priorities and you can't do it all. I'm not saying never work with your team. I'm saying prioritize. So first things first, if you're in an airplane and the plane goes down, what do they say? Take care of yourself first, then take care of the others. Same thing here, okay? So if I sat down and I was completely overwhelmed, I would say, who are my upcoming hostesses? I need to make sure that I have taken care of them, okay? They are your number one. And if you are like, I have no upcoming hostesses, okay, then what you need to go back and do is say, hey, who are my most recent customers? Have I sent them a handwritten thank you? Have I sent them a thank you on Facebook? Have I done anything to follow up with them in any capacity? The answer is no. That's where you start, okay? And then you work your way out. Hostesses, future hostesses, if you don't have any. So hostesses, future hostesses. If you've got a handle on that, then you go to follow up with your customers, get a handle on that. Then you start looking at your recruit leads. Just do it again. Think of 3 people you can talk to and just work yourself back out, okay? Once you get a couple parties on the books and you followed up and got a couple extra leads or a couple extra sales going on, then you can start saying, hey, team member, I'd like to talk to you. What do you got going on? All right? So if you want to know where to start, you always start with your hostesses that are currently having parties with you. I have made that mistake before and lost huge parties. And don't ask me why. I did not know this, but I did not. I neglected hostesses several times when I was in crisis mode, and that was a mistake. So your team is always going to be there. Your team who's working and is loving it is always going to be there. But your hostess, she doesn't know you sometimes. She doesn't know how much you care about Jamberry. So you have to make more of an effort to show her that. So I would say that if you have finally gotten the chance to sit down and everything is everywhere, just get one notebook, just get one 3-ring binder, and then what I did is I take the pages, the clear things that you can slip them in, take one 3-ring binder, take everything that you have, paper clip it, and start here with a Post-it note. These are leads I got from a garage sale. These are MomCom people I sent emails to. These are MomCom people I sent catalogs to. You might have other different things that you've been working on. Just take them, collect them, group them, say what they are, and then eventually just work on each pile until the piles are gone. That's really where you should start. And if you don't have any parties, but you have piles, be like, great, these are leads in my hand. I am not going to lie to y'all. I had a person who said she wanted to have a party. I mean, I'm not good at follow-up. And, like, I completely neglected her for 6 months. And I was like, oh, my gosh, I can't believe I'm about to do this. But I was like, whatever. Hey, you said you wanted to have a party. And she ended up having one. Okay? So you don't know. Don't write it off. Okay? Start somewhere. But you usually do start with your most recent. So your most recent person that said they would have a party. Okay? You don't have to go back 6 months or a year. You start with your most recent. Your most recent customers, most recent recruit leads, most recent hostesses. And that's where you start. So I hope that this has helped. I'll have to say everything that I've shared with you has helped me not be crazy. And now that the nail sticks are finally done, which, yay on that, which, let's say, that did not get worked on the whole time that I was gone from home. But anyway, and somebody printed everything off wrong and had to be reprinted. But anyway, all of that is now done. So now that that's done, I feel like I can crawl back out of my hole. But along the way, I've been keeping in contact with my hostesses, following up with the people who said they wanted sales or who wanted to buy the gel kits. You know, what I knew was income generating. So I hope that will help you at least get a start. I don't think this will necessarily be an overnight process, but I'll have to tell you that, like, in the first 2 weeks of just trying to really lay my life out like this made all the difference in the world. And I know I still am an overcommitter, and I still have sometimes I have no concept of how long it will take me to do something. But nobody's perfect. So I guess that's all I have. So I think I did pretty good. I kept it at a little over under an hour, actually. So does anybody have any questions? I guess I could do questions. Stacy, I use an Erin Condren planner. I'll tag you on that thing. So, do I have anything else on here? Yeah. The Jam Planner comes out in November. So, okay, so Leah, I have a thing called System for Success. If you really are somebody who has to have systems. But otherwise, honestly, to keep up with sales and follow up and all that, is I do a lot of in-home parties, so let me see if I can find one. Well, this person did not have a lot of, anyway, so for instance, like I might have a party, and then I'll just put on here, send thank you notes, send them an instruction video, 2 week, 2 month, and then if I added them to my FitFu, which I haven't done all the time, but, so that helps me, and then that has a 2 week and a 2 month, and I just have all of my party envelopes, whether they're Facebook or not, over there, and so I don't have to have everybody's list. What I'll do is, if it's a Facebook party, then I just go look up her Facebook party, and I email the people or contact them on Facebook or whatever. I don't have everything in an Excel. I can't do that. This really is the best thing for me. I know it sounds crazy, but but if somebody turns into more of somebody I'm contacting all the time, then I'll turn them over to something more like this where I'm contacting them more often, especially if they're past hostess, okay? But some people that you're just not going to have. The other thing is recruit leads. I've not had one in so long, I'm not going to lie. Usually recruit leads, let's see if this It's been a while. Let me see. I can find one. I'll write recruit leads inside my planner. I'll write them on the side of the month. I want to talk to them. Just things like that. So that's how I keep track of recruit leads, is I write them on my calendar. And so if they say that they don't want to join this month, or there's another month, then I'll write them on the margins of that calendar. And so, but I am not, those recruit leads are not, I'm really in a low right now with recruit leads. I have like 2. So, anyway, I don't know. That's all I really do. Okay. All right. So now, Leah, I would like to say I am an Excel spreadsheet person. I do love it, but I can't use it to keep me on track. Okay, so to email leads, hosts, and customers, I just use my Gmail or Facebook. So, or I text them. So that's what I do. Does anybody else have anything that they use or do or tip they want to share? I'm sure I'm not the only person who's got a good tip. Okay, do I do a newsletter? I just started something called Visit. I don't know what it's called, but I do pay for it, and it is a newsletter, and they do giveaways and stuff, and they do the whole newsletter, and I have nothing to do with it, and it's really awesome, and I've gotten return on it. I've done newsletters in the past, and I've never gotten anything from them. I've gotten people to look, but I don't know if Office sends out a newsletter anymore. Honestly, I'm trying to think the last time I got one. I don't know. They do? Okay. Well, this thing I send has like a giveaway, and I don't have to provide the giveaway. The company does it. And I just started it this month, so I'm doing a trial to make sure I like it. But I had 3 people reply to it. They actually filled out. I mean, nobody's bought anything. I know other people have gotten sales from it, so we'll see. I feel like because it has giveaways and it's very interactive, that it's better than anything I would have come up with, and I don't have the time, and time is money. FISBE, that's what it is. So, yeah. And what it does is it tells the people I'm adding you to a newsletter list, and they can opt out right then. So anybody who doesn't opt out is wanting to see your stuff, or at least not wanting to see it. All right. Anybody else have any suggestions for time management? I mean, I feel like I'm sure we all have at least one tip to share. And the other thing I would like to say about time management is you're always going to have moments where you struggle with it, and don't beat yourself up over that. Just know what you want to pick is important, and if for you, spending all day with your kids, breaking leaves and jumping in them, or carving pumpkins, or making a Halloween costume is what's important, and you didn't do something that's income generating, that's okay. Because you're putting a high value on that. But in 30 days, you can't complain because you don't have parties. I'm just saying that as well. So, but, okay, yeah. Oh, the other tip I have is there's 2 things that you can do at once. Okay? So, is there something that you're, while you're folding laundry, can you listen to one of the videos that are for training from Jamberry? Can you listen to the Motivational Monday while you fold your laundry? Can you, do you have a smartphone? Can you play it while you commute to work? I mean, that's the other thing. Use the pockets of time like that for those, and then you can stay up to date. You can be motivated. You can be learning and improving yourself. But, all right, if that's it, I'm going to go ahead and go and do something like lay down, go to bed. So, all right, thank y'all. And I did record this if you want to tell anybody.